Hello, Canada, and those of you watching on the NBC Sports Network in the U.S. It is the Stamps, it is the Riders, it's the Hatfields, it's the McCoys. It's Christmas in August, green and red in the stands, and the rivalry continues.
Well, some of the hottest performers in the CFL, Rod, take to the field this afternoon. Darian Durant, Corey Sheets leading that Saskatchewan Roughrider offense. On the other side, Kevin Glenn at quarterback this week, John Cornish, Ray Williams, Juwan Simpson, two of the finest middle linebackers in the CFL. If they don't get this thing started soon, let these teams line up against the other guys, they might just kill their own.
Corey Chamberlain, former Stampeders assistant, knows about this grudge match. Round two, green and white, red and white. John Huffnagel also ties to Saskatchewan. Connections on both sides of the field. Undefeated Roughriders. 4-1 Stampeders. Ready to go. And here we go. Larry Taylor gathers it in at his 10. Taylor up near the 30-yard line, and he's brought down there by Diamond Ferry. Kevin Glenn, third start of the season as the quarterback carousel continues.
Yeah, Drew Tate suffered a setback with that arm this week. Kevin Glenn gets the start, 8 touchdowns, 1 interception in 3 starts against the Riders last season. John Cornish, number 2 in the league, averaging 100 yards a game on the ground. They get the explosive Mo Price back at wide receiver this week. His first start since week 2 against Saskatchewan.
1st and 10, Calgary from their 32-yard line. Glenn with John Cornish in the backfield. Will go to the air right away. An out pattern, and it's knocked down on the corner. Nice play there by Terrell Mays, back in the Saskatchewan lineup as we take a look at the defensive starters to watch. Starters to watch brought to you by Napa Auto Parts, where custom advice comes standard.
Ray Williams has been phenomenal for the Riders thus far this season, leading the way with 22 tackles, more involved in the blitz package, 6 sacks this season. Terrius George last week, 3 sacks against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Craig Butler seeing a lot more snaps. You heard Schultze talk about him in the pregame. He'll be very active here.
2nd and 10. Here come the Riders. Glenn going downfield, and an overthrow, and a very quick 2 and out for the Stampeders. A month ago in Regina, Drew Tate started for Calgary. They went down the field and scored immediately. The Stampeders had a 14-3 lead and then a 21-14 lead at the half, and that was it. They scored no more points.
Well, the Saskatchewan defense has been very underrated, overshadowed, obviously, by what the offense has done through their first 5 games of this season. But a stout group, a veteran group with a killer instinct. That's what head coach Corey Chamberlain was looking to put together this offseason.
Diamond Ferry is back at his 30-yard line. Rob Maver, all-star punter in the Canadian Football League, with the wind. The wind blowing right to left on your screen from the south. Bursting it outside. And a penalty flag. Jock Sanders on the return. And a penalty flag right away. These are the 2 least penalized teams in the CFL. Penalties were a factor the last time. The Calgary Stampeders told us yesterday they have to stop the penalties. This one likely against the Roughriders. 24-yard return from Jock Sanders.
Holding Saskatchewan number 41. That penalty is declined. Holding Saskatchewan number 14. 10-yard penalty, first down.
It was Prince Miller. The infraction, a long field now for Darian Durant, his first series. Darian Durant, who had a couple of weeks off with the bye week, went down home to South Carolina in the bye week. Nursing a sprained foot, did not start in the last game, the last win for the Roughriders 2 weeks ago against Hamilton. Drew Willie started. Durant has been impressive this season. Quickly to Corey Sheets. He is gobbled up at the line of scrimmage by a wall of red.
Corey Sheets, of course, much of the defensive focus. Now, can you not be a guy who's averaging over 140 yards per game through their first 5? Darian Durant, 12 touchdown passes, no interceptions in his 4 starts this season. And the offensive line, these big boys don't get enough credit. And one of the best there is, left tackle, Xavier Fulton, 6'4", 300 pounds.
Sheets went off on the Stampeders in their last meeting, their first meeting of the season. 133 yards, carries it a lot. 2nd and 10, Durant throws, 4-man rush. Out of the backfield comes number 1, and he's dragged down. Ball is fumbled. Stampeders say they have it. Brandon Smith on the tackle. Now, was he out of bounds? Was the ball out of bounds? Or was this just a tackle?
Well, the strip occurs, but unless the Calgary Stampeders are able to contact the ball again before it goes out.
Whoa, it looks close. That could be Calgary football.
And we'll watch the feet of Brandon Smith this time to see if he hits the sideline before that ball goes off his rear end.
It goes off his rear end, and did Sheets touch it? It didn't look like it.
Oh, Calgary's not going to throw a review flag.
There is a challenge flag now.
Got it down just in time.
And that motion might have hurt the Saskatchewan Roughriders as they were preparing to punt. John Hufnagel throws the challenge flag, and there's a very good chance that that call on the field could be overturned and indeed might be a fumble recovery for the Stampeders.
Well, and this would be significant because Saskatchewan through 5 games, Rod, hasn't had an offensive turnover.
This would be turnover number 1. They have fumbled, but it was on a short kick. That's the only turnover. That's almost unprecedented through 5 games. Darian Durant has not thrown an interception, but this one looks like it could be Stampeder football.
Well, it looks like Brandon Smith makes contact with this. The other angle just before his foot hits that sideline.
Calgary is challenging the ruling of last touch before it went out of bounds. We'll review the play.
Now, had it just been a strip and the ball goes out of bounds on its own, that would remain Saskatchewan ball. But because the ball is touched here in the Canadian Football League, you don't need to get full possession of a fumble. It's the last team to touch the ball before it goes out of bounds.
Oakland, California native Brandon Smith, 4th season in the Canadian Football League out of Sacramento State. Could have the first big play of this game, and you go back a month to that pivotal game between these two teams at Mosaic. Roughriders stormed back in the game and an impressive second half. That was the game that Drew Tate left, remember, with a strained forearm. Kevin Glenn came in to mop up, but Calgary just didn't get enough football in the second half to even attempt to make a comeback.
No, the Saskatchewan Roughriders have proven to be very good closers. This is a team that I believe the key against this team is you can't get behind, because that's when it becomes all about Corey Sheets and that offensive line, and they have been the Canadian Football League's version of Mariano Rivera so far this season. Just tremendous closers in the final quarter of a ball game.
Tom Valesi talking with CFL Command Center. And they're looking at this at a number of angles. From our angle, though, it looks pretty clear that it did go off of Brandon Smith. Now,
well, the key here, though, is you've got to watch Smith's left foot, and it looks like he might have picked it up just before that sideline, just before it hits that sideline, and the ball is in contact. It's going to be a determination of whether on his slide, if that left foot hit the sideline before the ball touches him.
It's a great point. If Smith is out of bounds and touches it, even with last touch, it is not his football. Let's see. Here's Tom Valesi now with the verdict.
Calgary was the last to touch the ball going out of bounds. The call is overturned. First down, Calgary.
Stampeder football when we come back. First turnover of the game, fumble, and might this be John Cornish time? The red and white in the red zone first here tonight on TSN. Corey Chamberlain's offense, first turnover of the season, comes in the 6th game early on here. First break to the Stampeders. They've been so effective in the red zone. A score on almost every occasion. Wildcat Cornish. He'll score. Touchdown. Just like that. And just like a month ago, the Stampeders strike first.
Stampeders catch a great break as the Roughriders commit that first offensive turnover of the year. Nice use of the formation here. Larry Taylor provides a little bit of a key breaker being in that backfield on the offside. O-line did a great job getting out in front of Cornish, paving the way to the end zone.
Fifth major of the season, fourth on the ground for John Cornish, second in the rushing race this year. Behind Corey Sheets. He says it's not a rivalry, that rushing race between he and Sheets, but you know it's there. It's the elephant in the room.
Well, here's John Cornish, a guy who led the Canadian Football League in rushing, and his claim is that he doesn't try to compete with other running backs in the league. He's always trying to compete with himself, always trying to be better than last season. He lines up in that I formation here with quarterback Kevin Glenn, direct snap. Glenn on the bootleg. Nice job out in front as Dan Fetterkyle, the right tackle, former Indianapolis Colt, scores the pancake.
And Cornish scores the touchdown. 7-0 Stampeders. It'll be so interesting to watch the lines, the trenches here tonight. This game oozes with so much subtext, so many compelling plot lines, and the potential for great drama exists every time these two teams meet.
Well, with all due respect to the BC Lions and Toronto Argonauts, these have been the two best teams in the Canadian Football League thus far.
Once again, Jock Sanders. And these two teams have also been the best teams on special team coverage. You saw that right there. Carl McCartney, one of the leaders. Now Corey Sheets, time for redemption here.
Well, Corey Sheets has been really nothing less than perfect through the first 5 games of the season for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. A critical fumble there set up the Calgary touchdown, but you look at the numbers, over 130 yards in every single game. It just seems like he's getting not only better, but stronger as he goes, averaging over 23 carries a game as well.
On pace to break Mike Pringle's all-time record of 2065. Lots of football to come, though, and I'll tell you what, Justin Phillips and the Calgary Stampeders have a bullseye tonight on number 1.
Well, they sure do. And their job gets a little bit easier as they get Charleston Hughes, number 39, back in the lineup. You heard Milt Stiegel talk about his impact against the Riders. 8 sacks the last 2 seasons against Saskatchewan. Cordero Law got some reps filling in for Hughes over the last couple of weeks. 3 sacks in the last 2 games for him. Jamar Wall returns at the field halfback in place of an injured Quincy Butler.
Passing down now. Durant changes his play. 4 receivers to his right. Sends them out. 3-man rush. Finds Rob Bagg, but that ball was severely underthrown. Not a good start for Saskatchewan's vaunted offense so far here tonight.
Well, Darian Durant had pretty good protection on the play. Time and space to step into that throw, but just didn't get enough on it as he one-hopped it out to that wide side to Rob Bagg. Long throw off that left hash out to the right sideline.
Ricky Schmidt, like Rob Maver, averages about 44 yards a punt. Right on average there. Taylor on the far sideline against the Saskatchewan bench. Out of bounds quickly. Stampeders out quickly here. 7-6. Drew Tate looks ready to play, but he will not play for the next little while. Here's Jermaine Franklin.
That's right, Rod. It's been a disappointing week for Drew Tate after taking the extra time, waiting till after the bye week to return. Expecting to play in Friday Night Football, he realized that his throwing arm just wasn't ready to go. He experienced pain and soreness in his elbow and forearm area after a couple of days of throwing. The encouraging part for Drew Tate is the fact that the Stamps had a plan in place in case this very thing happened. What Drew Tate did have was a PRP injection, a platelet-rich plasma injection, which is meant to speed up the healing process in the injured area.
Yeah, Drew Tate, very frustrated. I mean, look what he's got to go through. The dislocated shoulder a season ago, then broke his arm, of course. The playoffs. He's done a lot of watching. He's always encouraging his teammates. But the thing about Drew Tate is, if you know this young man, this Texas quarterback wants to be out there.
Well, he sure does. The ultimate competitor. But a guy who really, despite having been in this league for 7 years to this point, is still trying to prove himself and needs to be on the field to do that.
Another Texas quarterback, Bo Levi Mitchell, short yardage play on second down. He's going to throw the hitch. And they're saying that that ball was dead. Incomplete pass. It was thrown forward as he was looking for Maurice Price. They did have a play to kill. You're likely going to see Bo Levi Mitchell stay out here for third down, but normally Bo Levi Mitchell will plunge or lunge forward.
Well, I like the play call from the Calgary Stampeders, but I like even better about it is that the Saskatchewan Roughriders were not caught off guard in that situation. It's what you call a check with me. Quarterback has that read at the line of scrimmage based on what he sees, whether he wants to go sneak, whether he wants to go hitch. As they pack that box, Bo Levi Mitchell decided to pull it and try to go hitch, but the Riders had it defended absolutely perfectly.
So now third down. Can Saskatchewan stuff the Stamps? And maybe they will. Forward progression, though, from Bo Levi Mitchell. He had to get to the 50. Looks like he accomplished that. Bo Levi Mitchell coming off his breakthrough night a couple of weeks ago in Winnipeg. An outstanding debut as a starter, but he is third in the pecking order here behind Drew Tate and behind Kevin Glenn.
Yeah, and he'll get his snaps for now. In these short yardage situations there, he required second effort and a little boost from his running back, John Cornish. Gave him a little two-handed shove in the back to ensure that he got over that line.
First down into Saskatchewan territory. Glenn signals some motion, now will pitch. Again to Cornish with a couple of blocks. John Cornish squirms forward near the 40-yard line. The spot is near the 41. It looks like he's going to be about a yard shy here of another first down.
Well, you know, I'm never going to miss an opportunity to give my fullback a little bit of love. Watch for Rob Cote, who's going to come in on the offensive left side of this formation. His job is to block the defensive end. There he appears, seals John Chick to the inside. Despite taking a hand to the face, he stays on that block, secures the edge for his tailback.
Again, second down play. Once again, they call on Bo Levi Mitchell. Almost had the ball stripped. There is a penalty flag. It came back near the 30-yard line to ascertain what this is about. But the short yardage plays will not come easy for the Calgary Stampeders. Keep in mind, Saskatchewan, #1 defense against the run in the Canadian Football League.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness. Saskatchewan, 15-yard penalty, first down.
And that's one that'll drive Corey Chamberlain absolutely nuts. He's a guy who's all about discipline. You mentioned it earlier, Rod. 2 least penalized teams in the Canadian Football League thus far need to get to playing their game.
Former Stampeder Terrius George. Keep his cool. First and 10 from the 30. Again, a direct snap back to Cornish. Has the right side and more. So far, John Cornish winning this rushing derby tonight. You keep track, scoring.
Saskatchewan's got those 2 great defensive ends, Ricky Foley and John Chick. Calgary's going to try and do some things to mess with those guys, not just to help in the run game, but to affect them in terms of their pass rush when Calgary goes to their passing game. We saw Rob Cote earlier motioning in to take John Chick. That time it was Nick Lewis coming down with the crack block on Ricky Foley to seal the edge.
Again, they've been money in the red zone. Cornish again, look out! Down near the 3-yard line, Tyrone Brackenridge saved 6.
Never really a great sign in terms of run defense when it's your free safety, Tyrone Brackenridge, who's the only guy who's in position to make the tackle. Well blocked at the line of scrimmage. Easy pickings there for Johnny Cornish.
Last meeting, John Cornish only got 42 yards. He's already exceeded that in the first quarter tonight.
Yeah, 47 yards on the ground for the league's #2 rusher.
Is it his time again? Bo Levi Mitchell. Hands to him. He scores again. Touchdown. Two in a row for John Cornish. And again, the Stampeders jump out to an early lead.
Stampeders get a lot of bodies up on the line of scrimmage, forcing the Riders to defend more gaps, flatten them out, taking away the second-level defenders. They can just give John Cornish a little crack, and he's in easily.
Two more red zone scores for the Stampeders. An assist from Bo Levi Mitchell on the handoff. Cornish the touchdown. Rene Paredes the point after. Penalty flag in the end zone. We'll sort it out when we come back. John Cornish doing what he does in his house on Wendy's Friday Night Football.
Jury duty!
You're happy about that?
No, but the courthouse is right next to that little pub.
With those amazing cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
Like these?
Did you guys have jury duty?
Wendy's.
Can I plead insanity?
Yes.
Now a specially crafted cheeseburger is closer than you think. Wendy's new pretzel bacon cheeseburger with melty cheese sauce and smoky honey mustard, all in a warm, soft pretzel bun.
Now that's better.
And we're open late.
A lot of people think fiber can do one thing and one thing only, and those people are what I like to call wrong. Metamucil is the only leading fiber supplement with psyllium, which gels to help remove waste and reduce cholesterol. Metamucil. Ask more of your fiber.
Oh, hello. I think I won. I think I just won Lotto 649.
Okay, calling the lottery office was a good place to start.
The next Lotto 649 jackpot is $7 million.
What you love. The all-new Nissan Versa Note. Your door to more.
Wendy's Friday Night Football is brought to you by Late Night. Participating Wendy's open until midnight or later. Now that's better. John Cornish.
Hey. My mom's in the crowd. Got two moms. What's up? Holler at anybody down in the stage watching. KU for life.
John Cornish, who spent his college ball at Kansas. Already a pair of touchdowns for his moms.
And John Cornish and the Calgary Stampeders have done a terrific job in the early going, establishing their ground game. Something that they didn't do in the last meeting between these two teams. As you mentioned, Rod, he's got 49 yards already in this ball game, limited to 8 carries, 42 yards total back in week 2.
Now keep in mind, John Cornish was underutilized in that second half too, because Calgary tried to go to an air attack, but then again they didn't have the ball on the field offensively at all at Mosaic. But a very similar scenario playing out just like a month ago when the Stampeders owned the game early on. This is Rene Paredes, and his point after is blocked.
It's a live ball.
It is a live ball. This could be two the other way. And rumbling down the sideline, Jermaine McIlvain, as we went to break, penalties on the play, moved the point after back, and Rene Paredes, who has been automatic in field goal position, has only had a field goal attempt blocked. This time a single point after blocked, a rarity. You don't see this too often.
Well, and you wonder if the penalty that led to this is going to come back and haunt them. It's Craig Butler coming right up the gut that gets the block on this.
No yards. Calgary number 96. By rule, convert's no good.
Rene Paredes, he's been having a great season till right about there.
Whoa.
Absolutely dusted.
Rene Paredes, he's part of the subtext tonight. Consecutive field goals made streak. Now with 34 regular season field goals in a row. Broke Paul McCallum's record in Winnipeg 2 weeks ago. Regular season and playoffs, he's at 42 in a row and counting. The all-time NFL regular season record is coincidentally set by another Canadian. When Mike Vanderjagt played for the Indianapolis Colts, the former Argo had 42 in a row spanning 2 seasons. So Rene Paredes, even though he had that point after blocked, could continue his streak here tonight. More importantly for the Stamps, they have an early 13-0 lead. That's a big kick down to the corner. Jock Sanders cut back there. Pretty good return up near the 26-yard line. A 24-yard return for Jock Sanders.
Well, perfect placement on that kick. You heard Paul LaPolice in the pregame talk about the importance of that, along with Hank Olisic. Absolute coffin corner kickoff there to pin the Roughriders deep. Now Darian Durant looks to get this offensive show back on the road for Saskatchewan. After a slow start here in the first quarter.
They've only had the ball for 2.5 minutes of the 10 minutes played so far. Durant, there's the rush. Charleston Hughes gives him a lick. First completion is to Weston Dressler. Dressler had 108 yards receiving in that last meeting on 10 catches and a touchdown. And there is Charleston Hughes, who left that game in Regina with a wrist injury and has not played since.
Well, you can see he still has that wrist well wrapped coming into this ball game. One of the most dominant pass rushers in the Canadian Football League, and he's a guy the Calgary Stampeders will move him around a lot. Darian Durant says he's the one guy you got to make sure you know where he is on every snap.
Second down and 3. Play action. Here's the rush. Durant lets it fly, and the catch made by G. Roy Simon. G. Roy Simon now 176 straight games and counting with at least a catch.
Well, the pressure comes from Hughes, who does a terrific job with the hands to fight off Xavier Fulton coming around the edge. Durant throws a little off the mark, but G. Roy Simon does a nice job, shows good body control, fighting back to that football to make it play.
Missed the first 2 games for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and Corey Sheets is going nowhere. Brought down by Fred Bennett. Former South Carolina Gamecock. Fred Bennett, big play in the backfield.
Well, we talked to Juwan Simpson about defending against Corey Sheets yesterday. He said ultimately it's going to be up to all 12 guys fulfilling their responsibilities. Right there you've got the field corner. Fred Bennett stepping up, fighting off his block, making a play and run support for a loss.
133 yards last time against the Stamps. Corey Sheets has no positive yardage yet. Second down, 14 to go. Good protection this time. Durant in and out of the hands of Chris Getzlaff. And again, the kick team will come out for the Roughriders.
Oh, one that Chris Getzlaff would like to have back. Just didn't get the hands up in time as he had Chris Randall, I believe, right on him in coverage on that play. Getzlaff, a guy who's had some of the biggest moments of his CFL career against the Calgary Stampeders.
Including their last meeting. Big touchdown, second half. Larry Taylor might have some room here. Finds a seam and then is smothered after the 12-yard return. Kevin Glenn at the helm. So far, so good for the Stamps. 2:40 to go. First quarter on Wendy's Friday Night Football.
The all-new Nissan Versa Note. Your door to more.
It's time. Time to have new experiences with a familiar keyboard. To update our status without opening an app. To have all our messages in one place. To browse and share faster than ever. It's time to do everything better than before. The new BlackBerry Q10. It's time.
The CFL on TSN is brought to you by Nissan. Innovation that excites. Sea of red and green here at McMahon Stadium. Guys in red leading in this opening quarter, as they did a month ago. For the Roughriders staged a comeback. Kevin Glenn slant pattern looking for Brad Sinopoli, and Glenn just got hit, and an unnecessary roughness call coming here. Late hit on the quarterback.
John Chick popped through late on a twist. After the ball was thrown, he was in full acceleration mode into the Calgary quarterback.
Major foul, roughing the quarterback. Saskatchewan, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Penalties are killing the Roughriders right now.
Chick from the bottom of your screen is going to go upfield and then ultimately loop inside. He ends up with a free run at the end of this play on Kevin Glenn and just destroys him. 4 penalties for 40 yards already for the usually well-disciplined Saskatchewan Roughriders.
John Chick not happy with that call. Kevin Glenn stays in, takes the lick, keeps ticking here. Now Glenn on the roll decides to take off with it, something he rarely does, and this time he is buried. And look who he runs into. John Chick, though, going to the sideline. Looks like he got nicked up.
Oh, the Saskatchewan defensive line. Hungry veteran group.
Kevin Glenn has only rushed twice this season for 10 yards before tonight. Add 3 there. 2nd and 7. They'll go to the air again. Here comes the rush. Glenn now dancing. Looks for a receiver. It's John Cornish. Now open field. Cornish to the 40. And he slipped. Otherwise would have had a lot more. Big first down for the Stampeders. Quite a night already for Calgary's number 9.
Well, great frustration here for Craig Butler, weak side linebacker for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, because he stays with John Cornish for the whole play, even throughout the scramble, but just misses that tackle in the open field that allows this big play to occur.
Calgary spread it around so far. On the ground, in the air. Pound the ground again. A hurdle from Cornish. Head up with free safety. Tyrone Brackenridge picked up half the first down yardage. Cornish will come to the sideline for 2nd down. Larry Taylor will sub in for him.
7. There you see the numbers on John Cornish already. 7 touches. As we mentioned, just 8 carries through the entire game the last time the teams met.
2nd and 7. Glenn now looking over the top. Has got to go again. Kevin Glenn. Oh, he takes a wicked jolt from Brackenridge, and Kevin Glenn was lucky that he wasn't immediately in the crosshairs, or that could have been ugly.
Well, Tyrone Brackenridge is a guy who has earned a reputation, I find more so since moving from linebacker back to that free safety spot, as one of the most fierce hitters in the Canadian Football League. We saw it with a couple of big licks on Toronto's Dontrell Inman when those two teams met earlier in the season.
Barring penalty, last play of a Calgary Stampeder dominated first quarter. Cornish up the gut again. Wrapped up, brought down by Keith Sholigan. That's it. A lot of emotion already. And the Calgary Stampeders, as they did a month ago, storm out to an early lead. Remember how it finished last time. Lots more to come here tonight from McMahon Stadium on Wendy's Friday Night Football. Riders from the unbeaten ranks. Lightning quick start.
Yeah, and absolutely, that's important. And this is one of those games where you expect that screen to start tilting because the stats are so one-sided offensively in Calgary's favor. The huge thing that stands out, obviously -2 yards rushing for a team that boasts the league's leading rusher, a guy averaging over 140 yards a game thus far in Corey Sheets. Fast start significant because that's how you keep Sheets out of the game, because you know you're not going to hold him at -2 forever. You got to try and maintain now what you've done if you're the Calgary Stampeders.
And one thing Calgary's done here as well is kept Darian Durant in that treasure chest of receivers off the field as well. Oh, Levi Mitchell back in here in the shotgun. They move close to the red zone again, and this time he's wrestled to the turf. And that will be short of a first down. Oh, Levi Mitchell will stay out on the field because he is the holder, of course, for the record setter, Rene Paredes. Set the record in Winnipeg, consecutive field goals made. Now at 34 and counting. Late substitution here, though, for the Stampeders. They're going to have to hustle. They might not get this off. 3, 2, 1. Just get it off. Paredes puts it through. 35 consecutive field goals made. The streak continues to roll.
Mr. Automatic, Rene Paredes. Undrafted free agent for the Calgary Stampeders. Arrived during the 2011 season when Rob Maver was injured. At the time, Maver was the field goal kicker rather than the punter here in Calgary.
So here are some numbers that Rene Paredes can now shoot for. Again, he has 43 in a row. That includes the playoffs. It's 35 in the regular season. Gary Anderson's all-time record, San Francisco and Minnesota, back in the late 90s was 46. Mike Vanderjagt, that was a regular season record, NFL all-time mark of 42.
And you mentioned the Canadian connection with Vanderjagt. Gary Anderson actually retired about an hour west of here in Canmore, where he runs a fly fishing operation.
Darian Durant now needs some offensive rhythm. Rushes on, looks downfield. He's looking for Taj Smith, who wanted an interference call, but again, Darian Durant just got that off. He was pressurized there, and good defense. Chris Randall all over Taj Smith.
Yeah, it appeared Randall got there with any contact late. It's the matchup man-to-man down at the bottom of your screen. Randall, the strong side linebacker a year ago, has moved to that critical boundary corner position and has been terrific for the Stamps this season.
Looked like the Roughriders were offside. And it might have been Rob Bagg or Weston Dressler. Let's see if this play will count. Bagg with the completion, but it looked like the Roughriders, unless the Stamps jumped, were about a yard or two offside in motion.
Offside. Saskatchewan number 89. 5-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
We'll give it to Chris Getzlaff, but it looked like a number of receivers had penetrated the scrimmage line.
Yeah, Getzlaff, the number 3 receiver. Inside man at the top of your screen. You see him out on those hash marks well before the ball was snapped.
So a 23-yard completion, Dwayne, is negated. 2nd and 15. Sends out 4 to his right. And looks there. Durant now with time. Goes downfield. Weston Dressler has it. Where else would you find Weston Dressler? Behind cover. Huge play for the Roughriders. 42-yard pickup.
Well, let's talk first about the guys nobody talks about. The offensive line, who gave Durant all sorts of time here. Thanks in part to what's just a three-man rush from the Stampeders, but they blocked it up the way they needed to and gave this play time to develop. And a nice adjustment by Dressler as he saw things weren't going to open up initially. Turned it upfield.
Into Calgary territory, four-man rush. Durant takes a hit again, throws it into coverage. But there was a penalty flag at the line of scrimmage. Both quarterbacks are taking some blows here tonight.
Well, this one's going to likely get flagged on DeMonte Bolden, defensive tackle for Calgary.
Holding. Saskatchewan number 58. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
It goes against left tackle Xavier Fulton.
Well, we'll take a look first at Fulton, the left tackle, number 58 out of Illinois. Beaten a little bit by that spin move to the inside, but meanwhile, DeMonte Bolden got away with a hand to the face mask on Darian Durant on that hit.
1st and 20. They back up to the Calgary 48-yard line. Down 16-0. Durant, pump fake. Now will he go? Keeps trying to throw. He does. Now Rob Bagg gets a nice block from Getzlaf, and he fumbled the football. But it looked like Bagg was the last to touch. We'll have to see on replay, but very close to that first down. Great block on the outside from Chris Getzlaf to free up Rob Bagg.
Rob Bagg in his traditional wide side wide receiver position in that three-man set with Getzlaf and Dressler. Dig route, and nice job. You see how he sits it down on the inside, slides with his quarterback. There's a block out in front by Getzlaf. Ball's punched out, but again, the punch out isn't going to get you possession. You've got to touch it again after that in order to have a turnover.
18-yard gain for Rob Bagg. Comeback year for him, a guy who's had 2 ACL surgeries on both legs. Remarkable story. 2nd and 2. Corey Sheets trying to break free. And down to the 20-yard line, Corey Sheets. That's his biggest run so far of the night. But it's a 10-yard pickup for a first down.
And this is just a great effort run from Corey Sheets. Spots his hole, accelerates, fights through an arm tackle, fights off another tackler there. But falling forward as he goes down, a guy who's never going to get knocked back.
Huge trip here for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Try to quell this crowd here. Play action, Durant, loads of time, sideline, and it's Getzlaf. Does he score? Yes, touchdown. This score was so similar to the touchdown that he scored a month ago. Tightrope walk on the sideline and look for the pylon.
Well, this starts with great protection, Ron. Again, the Calgary Stampeders dropping more people into coverage, not getting a lot of pressure on Darian Durant. Getzlaf doing, quite frankly, what he does against the Calgary Stampeders. That is his 29th career touchdown. 10 of those have come against the Calgary Stampeders, over a third.
And his first as a married man.
Good job.
Got married in the bye week. Congratulations to Chris Getzlaf. His new bride, this one's probably for her. Riders back in it here in Calgary.
Jones have come against the Calgary Stampeders. We mentioned over a third of his touchdowns, his first CFL catch, first CFL touchdown, both against Calgary. His career high 201-yard receiving game came against Calgary.
Big touchdown at the right time for the Roughriders. Larry Taylor, straight arm, good return. Looked like he might have been stopped about 10 yards earlier. Chris Getzlaf does it again. The Riders are down 9.
His name is Tia, and you can have life-changing moments during the bye.
Yes, you can. Kevin Glenn chucks it over the top. Brad Sinopoli Talk about life-changing moments for Brad Sinopoli. Came back third week of the season. Former quarterback, Heck Crichton Trophy winner, college ball in Canada. At Ottawa has become a receiver and has become a good one.
Well, he sure has, getting an opportunity to play here as they've battled a number of injuries in their receiving core. First Mo Price, now Joe West out of that lineup, but Sinopoli provides a big and reliable target for quarterback Kevin Glenn.
Lots of motion here, right at the midfield stripe. John Cornish trying to cut back. This time he's swallowed up by that suffocating Saskatchewan front line.
This is what Ray Williams, middle linebacker for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, talked about, is the importance of swarming to the football. Everybody being on a mission to get a helmet on John Cornish every time he carries that ball. You know, Ray Williams, he's the guy that brings the attitude to this defense.
Already 61 yards on the ground for John Cornish. Early second quarter here. Riders show 3, rush 4. Glenn has time. Far side, there is Maurice Price back in the lineup after missing a few weeks with a hamstring pull. They missed number 17.
Yeah, and for a team that's fortunate to have some depth in terms of its receivers. But with Joe West out of the lineup, they sure like to have Maurice Price back because of the explosiveness, big play threat that he provides.
Maurice Price, big season last year. Charleston Southern. But the Stampeders shy of a first down. It will be 3rd down and 3. Jock Sanders is back and Rob Maver ready to launch. Maver looks to angle one, and he does that successfully. Good spot inside the 10-yard line. Good kick. Corey Sheets, what a season he's had. Needs to kick it into gear tonight. He wants to get over 100 again. Corey Sheets has to go some here tonight. Just 4 carries, 8 yards, but you might expect him to, since he's been doing great things all season. Look what he is projected to do if he continues on this pace.
Yeah, the pace thus far has been absolutely remarkable. 142 yards per game. Now he's got to get 134 more in this ball game to stay on this pace. But it's been a terrific start so far. Now a lot of this, Milt Stegall talked about it in the pregame, is based on getting a lot of those touches and yards in the 3rd and 4th quarters with the lead.
Weston Dressler on the reverse. Good look here from Saskatchewan. Butting heads there with Brandon Smith. Mike Pringle's 20-65. How important is that to Corey Sheets?
That was my goal originally when I first came up here, was to be elite in rushing, to break the rushing record, and win Grey Cups as well. So right now it seems like it can happen. Everybody keeps saying about 2,500 yards, but my goal is still that 20-65.
The guy whose nickname now is One Time. We found out in the pregame show. Number 1, Darian Durant now slinging it out. Oh, what a catch! Chris Getzlaff again. We chatted with him before the game, and Getzlaff again has these out-of-world games against Calgary, but he also has those highlight of the night style catches. He said, yeah, I'll try for one of those. This one might make it.
Yeah, it could. Nice adjustment to the football here as that ball comes over the shoulder, gets the hands turned to make that play. That one makes up for a drop earlier.
Sends the receivers out again and fires, and Corey Sheets out of the backfield. Was thinking run before catch.
A little bit of pressure there on Darian Durant. Got to rifle that one out to Sheets. Sheets hasn't been used quite as much in the passing game thus far this season for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Under new coordinator George Cortez, they do have a lot of balance among their receivers, nonetheless, when they throw the football.
2nd down and 10. Throwing down. Looked like a couple of players jumped. Now, was it Calgary that jumped first, or were they drawn? Penalty flags on both sides of the field.
Offside. Calgary number 39. 5-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
Understandably, Charleston Hughes a little jumpy here tonight. Has missed the last couple of games with that wrist injury.
Yeah, Charleston Hughes knew he was caught here, didn't even try to get back. Anxious not just for this game, Rod, but also in a pretty good battle head-to-head here with Xavier Fulton.
High snap, 2nd and 5 after the penalty. Durant launches deep. Unable to run under it is Dressler. So that will bring out the Saskatchewan punt team.
Well, Dressler had a step on Jamar Wall. He had a big game against Wall. The last time these two teams met back in week 2, Dressler in that ball game posted a season high 10 catches, 180 yards, 108 yards. He had a touchdown in that ball game as well.
Left foot of Ricky Schmidt again with the wind. Larry Taylor reverses, spins, and nowhere to go. 5:46 to go before halftime. Well, next week, Wendy's Friday Night Football continues. Tiger Cats in Winnipeg against the Blue Bombers. Live coverage from Investors Group Field. Underway at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific here on TSN. And as you may have heard today, changes in Winnipeg. Joe Mack, general manager, fired. President of the team, Garth Butchko, relieved of his duties. Wade Miller, now the president, CEO of the team. Kyle Walters takes over as the interim general manager. Kevin Glenn over the top to Nick Lewis, who keeps his consecutive game streak going. And it comes up smiling after taking a couple of licks.
Well, Thick Nick runs like a slot, plays like a fullback. Lowered the shoulder on the first tackler on this play. I believe it was Craig Butler. Thought he had him. Nick Lewis at about 240 pounds. Spun off that one to pick up a few extra yards.
163 straight games with at least a catch. Both he and G-Roy Simon, longtime veterans, continuing their streaks here tonight. Cornish going up the middle again to move the yardsticks. So here's the all-time consecutive games with a catch streak. Don Narcisse, former Saskatchewan Roughrider, 216. A lot of people thought that might be unattainable. G-Roy Simon stays in for a few more years. He could do it. Nick Lewis would have to go a little further. But they're moving closer.
Well, they sure are, but two of the most consistent, most reliable receivers this league has seen in quite some time. G-Roy Simon, of course, had his 1,000-yard season streak snapped due to injury last year. Nick Lewis's remains alive at 9.
1st and 10. Pump fake from Glenn. Rushed. And then Lewis again. 2nd down conversion again for Nick Lewis. And this is where the Calgary Stampeders have excelled this season on 2nd down conversion. Usually they look to number 82. They spread the faith too as well. But on 2nd down conversions, Calgary is number 1 in the CFL.
Simple play, but this is Nick Lewis at his finest. Gets him a little bit of traffic, a little bit of contact from the defense, but completely unfazed by that as he bounced first off Ray Williams before the pass, and then Craig Butler after.
1st and 10 again, and Brad Sinopoli, the guy who can take off with that football. Again, remember, that's not Sinopoli, rather John Cornish on that snap, but John Cornish continues to pile up the yardage here tonight.
Well, nice execution on that sweep by the Stampeders. Again, it was the crack block by Nick Lewis to come in and pin the end. A nice lead by Dan Federkyle, their offensive tackle.
Cornish, room to roam here tonight. 3-minute warning on the field before halftime. His coach's playbook as well. 16-7 Calgary. On the march again. And the count Walter in the backfield. Marquay McDaniel close to moving the yardsticks again. 7-yard pickup. Matt Walter was into the game. A little diversion in the backfield created that.
Well, it's a nice job here from Calgary. We mentioned earlier what they're doing to try to affect the ends. Here again, it's Rob Cote, the fullback. He comes in to give that crack look, and you see how the end Ricky Foley widens out to that side instead of rushing the passer. You realize John Chick, Ricky Foley, you've got to do things to impact those guys. Helps give your quarterback time in that passing game.
2nd and 3 to the air, slant pattern. And only his 2nd game as a Calgary Stampeder, and Greg Carr has already made an impact in 2 games. 1st down again for the Stampeders. Carr, the former Blue Bomber and Eskimo and Rough Rider. Look at the 1st downs for Calgary so far. 2 weeks ago against the Blue Bombers, his first catch as a Stampeder was a touchdown.
Well, 2 teams that have each averaged about 33 minutes per game in terms of time of possession. The Stamps are winning that war big time tonight.
John Cornish up the middle. Goodbye. Touchdown. Make it 3. Hat trick. John Cornish. "32-yarder." And John Cornish already 114 yards, and it's not even halftime yet.
Well, Cornish came in averaging just over 100 yards a game. Gets a lot of help here as left guard John Gott does a nice job. He's got to beat Jermaine McElveen across his face to that hole. Create the lane for Cornish. Nice effort there to get on his man.
John Cornish, only 42 yards a month ago against the Rough Riders, had this date on the calendar circled.
I really like how they fly around. They're a team that knows how to swarm tackle, and there's always 4 or 5 guys around the ball making the tackle every play. So I was really impressed by that. But you know, effort guys, you know, the way you beat them is you play with more effort.
Combat effort with effort, and so far it's worked. John Cornish, 3 touchdowns, 114 yards in the first half. Still 2 minutes to go before halftime.
Well, that was an important response drive by the Calgary Stampeders as the Saskatchewan Roughriders had cut into their early 16-point lead with that last touchdown. You know, over on that Saskatchewan sideline is a guy that the Calgary Stampeders know very well, an offensive coordinator, George Cortez. You see John Cornish race to the end zone again. And we asked Corey Chamberlain yesterday, what does George Cortez bring to this team as your OC? His answer very simply, points. George is a guy who can light up the scoreboard. Great weapons with Darian Durant. 4 different Rough Rider receivers have had 100-yard games already this season in 5 games. This is a team that can move the ball and put up points. You always want to give yourself a little bit of breathing room against the Saskatchewan Roughriders offense.
Well, George and the Riders are going to need points now, down 23-7. Corey Chamberlain cut his teeth here in Calgary as an assistant a few years ago. Penalty after the point after, and so that's why Rene Paredes had to kick so far away. So a good field position. 2-minute offense now for Darian Durant and the Saskatchewan Roughriders to reply. There's George Cortez on the left. He has helped their offense immeasurably.
Well, you look at no further than the rankings in that right-hand column. A bit of a theme over there.
High formation with Sheets in the backfield. Time ticking down before halftime. 5 receivers set. Durant, though, gets drilled. He was rocked. Ron Mayo, linebacker, laid into Darian Durant.
Deron Mayo's getting an opportunity to play at that weak side linebacker spot after an injury. to Malik Jackson, the regular starter there, and he comes on that delayed blitz.
Second down, 10 yards. The rush again. Durant over the top. This time, Chris Getzlaff can't make the circus catch. And Calgary will get the ball back with a chance to add to this lead.
Well, we talked about that time of possession battle, Rod. The Saskatchewan Roughriders. Quick 2 and out there. 2 incompletions. Not taking any time off the clock, which means Calgary's going to have an opportunity to put together a drive here.
Look for the block. Wobbler bounces in front of Taylor on the ground. Lucky to get it back. Diamond Ferry quickly downfield. Wobbly kick from Ricky Schmidt. Handcuff Larry Taylor a bit here.
Well, Paul LaPolice talked about this great special teams unit of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. The cover guys coached by Bob Dice. They're led by those 2 gunners, Diamond Ferry and Paul Waldo, first men to arrive at the returner, Larry Taylor.
1:40 left before halftime. There still is a chance that Saskatchewan, with their D, opportunity to hold here, could also get the ball back again. Gonna have to make some plays here.
The 40.
John Cornish not in the backfield. There's Calgary Dino alum Matt Walter. Land. Mo Price can't hang on, and a late flag after Mo Price got knocked down by Macho Harris.
Well, just a bad decision by Macho Harris on the play. Mo Price is the outside man. He's going to run that in. He has a drop on the play, and the ball's on the ground.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness. Saskatchewan number 3, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That is Saskatchewan's 3rd major penalty, 3rd 15-yarder.
In that play situation, Harris just has to make a better decision. The ball clearly dropped. No need to go and hit the guy in that situation.
Macho Harris missed much of last season with some leg injuries. Draws back in the lineup here. Now Mo Price on the hitch. Straight arm. Well played on Prince Miller into the Calgary bench. It's okay. Kind of cringe every time you see Mo Price go near his sideline. Harken back to last season. Snowy day when he went head first into one of those sideline heaters.
Yeah, very fortunate to avoid injury in that situation.
2nd down and 3. Big down here for the Saskatchewan D again. Kevin Glenn shotgun again. No Cornish. Matt Walter does it this time. Matt Walter, Calgary Dinos all-time rusher. Local boy, 5th round pick back in 2011. A league that is riddled with a number of ex-Dinos from the University of Calgary.
Yeah, it speaks volumes about the program put together by Blake Nell, the kind of athletes he's recruited for a number of years. 3 running backs from that school playing in the CFL right now.
Here he goes again. This time stuffed. Minute 17 to go. Walter hasn't had a lot of carries, only 12 before today's game. Just 42 yards. John Cornish has done it all in the first half.
Well, Cornish has been a busy man. That's the opportunity for Matt Walter to spell him for a bit here in the final minutes.
2nd and 5. Throwing down. Glenn. Quick trigger. And hauled in by Nick Lewis right near the first down marker. Might be a yard, maybe a half-yard shy here on the spot.
2nd down. Little surprise, Nick Lewis releases inside, little contact to get separation on Weldon Brown. What Lewis does so well is using his size and strength against smaller defenders. Guy at this stage of his career, his 10th CFL season. He's not slow, certainly, but isn't going to burn a lot of people with his speed. Crafty receiver who knows the tricks of the trade to help get himself open.
55 seconds remain before halftime. And Bo Levi Mitchell will come in for short yardage. Third and less than a yard. Forward he goes and gets another first down. Good chance now the Stampeders will maintain possession before halftime. A couple of big plays there by the Calgary offense, but the Macho Harris roughing call, again a crippler to the Roughriders. Glenn decides to throw. Decides to go. Gets another first down. This is the Kevin Glenn that we're not used to seeing very much of. Doesn't do that often.
No, Kevin Glenn known more as a guy who tries to beat teams with his arm rather than with his legs. Gets on the move and puts that pump fake to good use a couple of times to buy himself a little extra space.
Former Stampeder Dwight Anderson with the tackle. So they're not content on sitting on this lead, taking a knee before halftime. Glenn continues to fire away. One hopper this time. Moves the clock down to 16 seconds. Trying to get it into the range for Rene Paredes. One thing we have seen this season in the CFL, you do not see many teams try field goals really over 45 yards, never mind 50. Have not had a field goal made beyond 50 this season.
Not a significant factor in that, of course, the potential for big returns.
As we saw last night, Chad Owens, the Toronto Argonauts against Montreal. They get this inside the 40. Glenn over the top. Marquay McDaniel's thrown back. Might be time for one more shot. What do you think, Dwayne?
Yeah, they're going to have an opportunity to run one more play here before deciding whether or not to trot Rene Paredes out there.
Well, maybe not. We're going to come and talk about this. 3rd down and 4. They bring Paredes out here for a long field goal. Paredes is warming up. Kevin Glenn, I'm sure, is trying to talk Dave Dickinson into going for this, and it looks like he might have won that argument.
Well, I think this is a gutsy decision for the Calgary Stampeders, but with 10 seconds, you're weighing the risk of something coming back the other way against you. But to go 49 yards for Paredes into a bit of a wind at this stage, I think makes this a better decision for the Stampeders.
Kevin Glenn now with the rush over the top. Nick Lewis, time running down, and still 5 seconds. And now that turned out to be a great decision, because now they're in range for Rene Paredes.
Well, Kevin Glenn and the rest of the Stampeder offense made it a great decision. Beautiful execution. Gets Nick Lewis, the guy you'd be expecting to get the football on the play, wide open.
Last play before halftime. 35 in a row. Chance to make it 26-7 at the half. Mr. Automatic does it again. The streak now stands at 36 straight. More importantly for the Stampeders, they have a big lead at the half. 26-7 over the unbeaten Saskatchewan Roughriders. Dave? Saskatchewan Roughriders undefeated record in jeopardy. We head to the second half. Wendy's Friday Night Football from McMahon Stadium. John Cornish, 3 first-half touchdowns for Calgary. Chris Getzlaff, the lone major for Saskatchewan. He's with Jermaine Franklin.
Chris, what was the message in the locker room in that halftime?
I mean, you just got to stay focused. You know, obviously they're a good football team. You can't come in here expecting just to blow them out. So, you know, we're down by quite a few here. We got to come back and make sure that we're staying focused and doing our assignments properly, and the rest will take care of itself. How important is discipline moving forward in the second half? It's huge. You know, you can't set yourself back. You know, when you move backwards on penalties, you're going to do nothing good for the team. So if we're able to stay disciplined and focus on what we need to do, we can come back in this ball game.
Thanks for this.
Thank you.
Corey Chamberlain knows they have the 4. Last time they met, they scored 22 unanswered points in the second half on their way to a big win. They need more of the same here. Jock Sanders, nice return out of the chute, out of the locker room. Keon Raymond tripped him up near his 40-yard line.
Now it's up to Darian Durant in this offense to go back to work. Durant, 7 of 14, 121 yards in that first half. The big number, perhaps surprisingly small number, belongs to Corey Sheets. Just 5 touches, 11 yards, and a critical fumble for the Saskatchewan running back. Chris Getzlaff, as you mentioned, the only Rider touchdown, had 2 catches for 40 yards in the opening 30 minutes.
Riders' only offensive drive during that Getzlaff major score from Durant. Corey Sheets has some room here. Corey Sheets, best run of the night. Inside Calgary territory. So tough to bring down. Finally, they do bring him down. It was Jamar Wall. A 32-yard romp from Corey Sheets, the CFL rushing leader.
Ben Heenan washes everything all the way across from the backside. That creates a cutback lane for Corey Sheets. Big gain right up the gut.
They go right up the gut again. Sheets lunging forward to the 35-yard line. 4-yard gain.
This has been a very good second half football team. Particularly third quarters, you see the numbers. Outscoring opponents 41-5 in this frame.
Trying to get off to a quick score start here. They need it, down 19. Durant has time over the top for Dressler. And again, Jamar Wall working on him. Weston Dressler with a 10-yard pickup. Moves the sticks close to the red zone, down near the 25-yard line.
And you saw that font a little earlier about halftime adjustments. And this is one of the things that George Cortez does as well as anyone. Corey Chamberlain talked about it. Darian Durant talked about it. The in-game adjustments seem so critical to ongoing success in this league.
George Cortez, head coach in Hamilton last year. Taj Smith makes the catch. Keon Raymond drags him down. First reception of the night for Taj Smith.
So Taj Smith, a guy who's started to emerge as the deep threat in this offense for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Had a big game against the Toronto Argonauts in week 3. 3 catches, 141 yards, and a pair of touchdowns in that one.
Smith, wide left, bottom of your screen. Rob back, top of your screen. Looking to the corner, post route. Keon Raymond. That is the second time that has happened to Keon Raymond, who missed a couple of games early in the season. He is a tremendous tackler. He is a versatile athlete. But right now, he must feel like he's playing hot potato.
Yeah, doing a lot of juggling. He had one like this a couple weeks ago where the ball pretty much hit him in the numbers, and he couldn't squeeze it. And by the way, that would have been Darian Durant's first interception of the season. I think he owes Keon Raymond a dinner after the game.
By all accounts, should have been. We talked about Rene Paredes, 18 in a row to start the season. How about Chris Milo? 13 for 13 this season. Riders cut into the lead.
There's that Saskatchewan Roughrider defense. Corey Chamberlain is
roles reversed in the second. Glenn lets it go again, underthrown and off target for Nick Lewis. And that Saskatchewan D comes up big. Prince Miller and Nick Lewis exchange pleasantries.
A big stop for the Saskatchewan Roughriders D. They try to get that time of possession, not to mention the scoreboard, back in their favor. Tough to make a comeback if you let Calgary eat up time on that clock.
Rob Maver again. Saskatchewan has the win, so Maver will kick into the breeze here. Seems to be dying down a little bit. That's a good boot. Jock Sanders collects it, and then he is swarmed at the 35-yard line. Saskatchewan football. Darian Durant, double D, with his O next. The cut +2. Darian Durant will play action, and oh yes, good grab, Taj Smith. Thrown to the right spot, and Taj Smith picks up 13.
Saskatchewan Roughriders are starting to make some plays. Taj Smith fully extends on the reach with Demetrius Morley draped on his back. Terrific effort there from the Saskatchewan receiver.
Riders really a touchdown away from making this very interesting here in his third quarter. Deep down the sideline, has his man. Taj Smith again had to step out of bounds immediately to the red zone. Back to back, Taj Smith. 45-yarder, Dwayne.
Rod, this is the role of Taj Smith in this offense. He's the burner. He's the deep guy lined up that short side wide receiver spot. Chris Randall's out there, but gets caught peeking in the backfield as Smith runs by him. Darian Durant lays it in perfectly.
Corey Sheets time. Only a few yards. Saskatchewan also equally good in the red zone. Not as proficient as the Calgary Stampeders. 20 times they've been to the red zone. They've scored 18, 10 on touchdowns. So 50% really their major rate. See 21 now for 11, updated tonight with Getzlaf's touchdown. They need a score here. They know field goals will not do it. Durant trying to shout it out over the crowd. Here's the rush. Darian Durant has to dance. Now he goes against the grain. What a catch by Rob Bagg inside the 5-yard line. What a throw from Darian Durant.
Well, Darian Durant just stays alive on this one. You know, he's probably not looking to use the legs a whole lot as he's still recovering from that bad foot, not back at 100%. You see that sidearm delivery working around the defender. Just threaded in there to Rob Bagg.
That is such a tough throw going the other way. So now, will this be Corey Sheets' time? First and goal. No, Durant goes end zone, and another touchdown tonight for Chris Getzlaf.
30 for his career, 11 against the Calgary Stampeders.
And here come the Roughriders.
Good protection. They have two men on Charleston Hughes on the backside of that protection. Taking care of the key defender in that Calgary pass rush to ensure that Durant's got time to deliver that corner route.
Well, Getzlaf told Jermaine Franklin they've got to maintain composure and come out quickly. So far, they've done exactly that here in the second half. 2 touchdowns for Getzlaf tonight. See what marriage can do for you?
Well, Chris Getzlaf would be the poster boy, the newlywed. 2 touchdowns in his first game since his nuptials.
9-point game now. Those third quarter numbers playing out again for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Will the Stampeders have a response? Larry Taylor right into the teeth of that special team coverage. Let's take a look at this 5-play, 75-yard drive.
Well, much of the credit on this drive goes to Taj Smith, who came up with a couple of big plays, including that bomb down the sidelines. Darian Durant, the scramble and toss against the grain to Rob Baggs, sets it up. Chris Getzlaff finishes it off. Darian Durant, now 14 touchdown passes, no interceptions thus far this season.
Glenn fires. Low Price. Up past the 40-yard line. Calgary comes out gunning again. 12-yard pickup. Dwight Anderson and Maurice Price chirping at each other. Dwight Anderson's always talking, though. He talks in his sleep.
An equal opportunity trash talker, Dwight Anderson.
Again, the former Calgary Stampeder. Grey Cup with his team back in 08. Glenn in trouble this time. Goes over the top for Cornish, his outlet. And pushed back and sandwiched. He got close to half that first down yardage, 4, maybe 5. Again, there is the vocal Dwight Anderson.
Well, motion kicking in for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and for a number of these players, there is no need to light that emotional fire coming into this ball game, considering their last visit to McMahon Stadium ended in major disappointment. The West Division semifinal a year ago, where the Calgary Stampeders pulled out a late victory on a long Drew Tate to Romby Bryant touchdown pass.
2nd and 6. Glenn hangs in again and throws into traffic. Tyrone Brackenridge, blanket coverage on Larry Taylor. Nowhere to throw or go, and now another punt situation for the Calgary Stampeders with 6.5 to go in the 3rd.
I'm among those who was a little concerned in the offseason when the Saskatchewan Roughriders moved Tyrone Brackenridge, their best defensive player a year ago, from the strong side linebacker spot back to free safety, because the feeling was he'd be involved in fewer plays. But I'll tell you, he's sure found a way to make himself involved every single game.
Saskatchewan will get the ball back. Low, boring punt. Jock Sanders, though, finds a crease. Now bounces back. May have picked up 3 or 4 yards there. So Chris Getzlaff continues his run of success against the Calgary Stampeders.
That's been tremendous. We talked about all the milestones he's had through his career playing against the Calgary Stampeders. Here adding 2 more touchdowns. A couple great catches. Came into this game with its season high against the Calgary Stampeders back in week 2. That ball game had 8 catches for 97 yards.
And a big touchdown in the 2nd half. Sheets now, look out, Corey Sheets romps again. Up near the 49-yard line. 26 yards. You heard Milt Stiegel at halftime talk about Corey Sheets and how maybe Darian Durant's going to have to go to the air. He has. He's used more balance. But Corey Sheets most definitely is a 2nd half running back.
Well, he certainly has been. And I still maintain that a lot of that has had to do with this team playing with leads and having worn defenses down a little bit.
26-yarder there. Durant has lots of time. But again, overshoots this time. Taj Smith streaking down the near sideline.
Saskatchewan Roughriders offensively are getting back to that balance that's been their hallmark through the first 5 games of the season. See a number of players step up and make plays. The last drive, it was Taj Smith. We've seen Chris Getzlaff, obviously. What frightens you is that it hasn't been a lot of Weston Dressler and G. Roy Simon yet. You know those guys are looming.
Weston Dressler, this is where he excels. Second down. Taranto in trouble. Just gets rid of it. Got rid of it before he was sacked. No sacks by either team tonight. Both teams do not give up a lot of sacks and do not throw up many interceptions. Again, Darian Durant has not thrown one this season.
And that's a good heads-up play by Durant to avoid giving up any additional yardage. On the sack, find an open space, get that ball across the line of scrimmage out of your hands.
Ricky Schmitz. Punt again fielded by Larry Taylor. Calgary's offense comes on the field, but don't forget about Juwan Simpson. That D, red and white tonight on Friday Night Football. That their team will play home to a Grey Cup in late November, but a lot of football. John Chick buries Kevin Glenn. There it is on cue, the first sack of the night.
It's just going to be a four-man rush from the Saskatchewan Roughriders. They've got the middle linebacker. Ray Williams mugged up in the middle, but John Chick's coming off that edge. Just beats Dan Federkyle. Quick hand slap and through to the quarterback.
Hard to believe John Chick, Defensive Player of the Year a few years ago before he went to the NFL. That's only his second sack of the season.
Yeah, a bit of a slow start in terms of those numbers. This is a team and a defensive line that's going to get it done by committee.
Rob Maver in his end zone. Will he boot it out? Yes, he will. Will not give up the points. Saskatchewan's going to get good field position. Jock Sanders kicking it outside here. Back inside. And Justin Phillips right there to meet him. But good field position. After that sack, Darian Durant will bring his offense on the field with 3:07 to go in the third.
The Saskatchewan Roughriders continuing their third quarter dominance. A couple big plays from Taj Smith set up. A Chris Getzlaff touchdown. Corey Sheets has had a couple of solid runs here to get his game back on track. The momentum has entirely shifted. And now terrific field position to start this drive at the Calgary 46-yard line.
Will wing tight formation here. Sheets in the backfield on first down. Will carry the man and will carry it a long way here. Sheets popped by Brandon Smith, who had his helmet popped off.
There, partner.
Wow. Brandon Smith lost his lid as Corey Sheets absolutely rumbled over him.
Yeah, the license plate of that truck was just number 1. Cuts off the backside of the center. Dominic Picard. You get an idea here of the power of Corey Sheets. Smith delivered a pretty good blow on the play, but he ended up taking the worst of it.
Yeah, Brandon Smith went at him and took the worst of it. Corey Sheets, everybody's talked about his style. You know, Matt Dunnigan likes to call it the shuffle, and Corey Sheets told us yesterday it's a smooth strut with controlled violence. Was that ever more evident than that?
Well, there you saw it. Patience as he picks out that hole, and then all about the controlled violence once he starts accelerating upfield.
Brandon Smith being attended to here. Like a bit of a helmet-to-helmet collision, but he may have also took a shot up high in his chest area. Players concerned. Take a look here.
He got underneath Sheets a little bit, but it was
his own teammate also in the collision that might have knocked his helmet off. In some distress on that field. He's up now and shake his neck.
Well, they've battled some injuries in this Calgary Stampeders secondary already this season.
Here's a good sign. Brandon Smith is up now.
Darius Brooks, Jamar Wall, both just coming back from injury. Quincy Butler, one on the injured list following week 5. We'll see a little shuffle on the back end as Brandon Smith makes his way to the sidelines.
They only have one backup DB roster tonight.
You've got the versatility of Keon Raymond, and he's likely going to be the guy who's going to shift from his strong side or nickel linebacker position to play in the secondary.
That big run and the big collision results in a 1st and 10 with 2.5 in the 3rd. At the 25, play action. Durant goes for it all here. End zone and knocked away by Keon Raymond, who comes back to make the play.
Well, and normally great thinking, great mindset to go right after the new guy. Except the new guy's kind of a star in this league. There's Weston Dressler, number 2 receiver, out to the field. Keon Raymond goes out there to match up with him. A little stop and go. Raymond's right there. Watch the right hand come over the top to make a play on the ball.
Big knockdown. Keep in mind, Keon Raymond had that, what should have been interception. We'll see how that plays out as this game progresses. 2nd and 10, though. 4 receivers to the right. Durant gets out of the grass. Now he goes. Darian Durant slides down to the 10-yard line.
That sprayed foot looked pretty good for number 4 on that play, but he comes up hobbling a bit.
14-yard run as Darian Durant shows that escapability.
Right, a missed opportunity there by Junior Turner to bring him down in the backfield. Durant sacrificing the body a little bit, knowing he's playing with that sore foot, but he's got to make a play, and he does.
They bring in the big boys here. But they go play action again. Durant looking for Neil Hughes, who's making his season debut. The longtime Regina product had a foot injury. Neil Hughes into the 6th game, makes his first start for the Roughriders this season.
Yeah, one of the veterans on this team in his 10th CFL season. He's been an unsung hero over the years for the Riders.
Pickup of 5. Riders could get to the 1 and could get a fresh set of downs, but they want to get it to the house. Durant goes there, looking for Taj Smith, but he overthrew him. So opportunity missed there for the Rough Rider offense. They're going to bring out their kick team and go for the points.
Taj Smith motions. Little switch motion with Getzlaff, and then he's going to go to the corner route. He's got that position with his release on Randall. The ball thrown just too far to the outside.
Chris Milo, who has been perfect this season, remains that way. 14 for 14. How about these kickers tonight? 32 for 32 between the 2 of them this season. The Riders move closer. You can watch your favorite heroes save the world in Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., a new series Tuesday this fall on CTV. And speaking of superheroes, is there a bigger super eating hero than my partner Dwayne Ford? No, I meant Joey Chestnut, who was here. He's the hot dog champ, who was eating fish tacos tonight. And I guess competitive eating is now officially sanctioned as a sport, perhaps even an Olympic sport. I'm not sure. Joey Chestnut was in the house. I think he ate like 150 fish tacos. And he's been whisked away to hospital. We're not sure. Anyway, he ate a lot of tacos tonight. Kevin Glenn again fires a missile to Mo Price. A 14-yard gain, 10 seconds to go.
On the Calgary Stampeders, be happy to see this 3rd quarter come to an end. Somewhat disastrous for them. A huge turn in momentum. Saskatchewan Roughriders have turned this into a 1-score ball game.
And starting to look very similar to that game a month ago when the Riders scored 22 second-half points. Final play, third quarter that the Stamps will be happy to see in their rear view mirror. They'll have the wind in the fourth, but they only have a 6-point advantage now. It's Wendy's Friday Night Football. Corey Sheets rumbles. Ty Smith catches. And the Roughriders are right back in it. Oh yes, the Saskatchewan Roughriders rally back in the third quarter as they have done all season long.
Well, they sure have. The guy who's leading the charge, Corey Sheets, the second half guy, as Milt Stiegel called him, 88 yards on the ground for Sheets in the third quarter alone. And suddenly that stats board starts to even out a little bit based on the way it had gone in the first half.
And similar scenario to that month ago when Calgary's offense didn't get on the field very much. Same thing is happening in the second half. What does Calgary have to do to maintain their composure now?
Well, that's the biggest thing, is composure, focus. That's been the shift for Saskatchewan, was their execution was far better in the third quarter than it had been at any point in the first half of the football game.
Second down, 8 now for the Stamps. Glenn, there's the rush. Has to sling it out to Marquay McDaniel. But again, as they change sides here, the Stampeders with the wind will bring their punt team out on third down.
It's not necessarily going to qualify as a hit on the quarterback or a hurry, but you got the sense that Kevin Glenn was feeling the pressure of that pocket collapsing around him a little bit as he made that throw. Didn't step all the way into it to get it where it needed to be.
Busiest guy for the Stampeders in this second half, something John Huffnagel does not want to hear. Rob Maver, their punter. This is his fourth kick here. Now early in the fourth quarter. Angles it for Jock Sanders. Reverses field. And again, the two best special teams statistically are doing a very good job containing those returners tonight. So Corey Sheets, back to you.
Remarkable. 80 yards in that third quarter leaves him just 4 away from the 100-yard mark.
He already has a CFL record of 5 straight 100-yard games to start a season. Never been done before. He's on a historic, torrid start to the season. Charleston Hughes said he wanted to hit him tonight. Says he doesn't like to get hit. Corey Sheets said, go ahead and hit me if you can catch me. There goes that shuffle and that strut outside to the 30, and Corey Sheets now over 100 yards again.
Well, if you look at Corey Sheets' CFL career now into its second year, and you see the way that he has developed. 6-game segments, first 6 games, no 100-yard games. Next 6, 1. Next 6, 2. And now suddenly 6 straight to start the 2013 season.
Again, unprecedented. Averages 130-some, almost 140, and now Darian Durant flips it out. There was a whistle. Are they going to be credited with a sack here? Yes, they will. Freddie Bishop, playing in his first CFL game, was in on that play. Out of Western Michigan, Bishop getting his first start tonight. Kevin Huntley out of the lineup with injury.
Freddie Bishop, number 95, right on the hash mark. The man who eventually wraps him up. Terrific explosive athlete, little undersized, playing defensive tackle. He was an end in college.
Calgary keeps coming after Ricky Schmidt for a block. Missed him that time. Now Larry Taylor. Look out now. Taylor, his best return. 16-yarder tonight. Good field position for the Stampeders, nursing a 6-point lead on Wendy's Friday Night Football. During the layoff, the bye week, we were busy. Chris Getzlaff got married. Keith Sholigan became a daddy for the first time. Trying to bring his newborn a W. He needs to come back again. Back July 28th after the Hamilton game. Keith returned home to be with his wife Anna and their newborn William Keith Sholigan. Boy, you couldn't wipe the smile off his face when we talked to him before the game.
Absolutely beaming. I think part of the smile, though, is because he says his wife handles all the diapers.
Yeah, that's a good point. Great young player. Great community guy, Keith Sholigan. 2nd and 6. Glenn with time. Goes for a kill shot down the sideline and trying to one-hand it. Great coverage there by Macho Harris on Mo Price.
Yeah, Macho Harris couldn't have been in any better position on this play. Kevin Glenn takes a shot on the outside. Price matched up. Harris up tight in coverage. And there he is right in the hip pocket from the get-go. Only chance is for Kevin Glenn to lead him a little bit. And Price to try to separate right at the end of that play, but Macho Harris played it perfectly.
3rd 2 and out for the Stampeders in this half alone. Our offense sputtering. Maver. High kick with that breeze. Jock Sanders has to make a decision, decides to hang on, couldn't go back. It was a perfect kick. Perfect kick. Corey Sheets has done it again, century mark. But the Roughriders still need to find the end zone tonight. 26-20 the score in McMahon. Jock Sanders had a split second to make the decision, right or wrong.
Well, it's the wrong decision. He knew where he was on the field and understood that there was an opportunity to let that ball bounce into the end zone for a single point, move it out to the 35 and take better field position. 7-point lead, 6-point lead, doesn't matter much for the Saskatchewan.
Now a battle of field position, and Durant almost gave up 2. Another sack, but that was almost a safety in this play. They may be forced to give up 2.
Well, that's exactly the issue that comes into play with the decision not to take the single point by Jock Sanders. You limit your playbook, but you put yourself in peril of turning that 6-point lead into an 8-point lead.
Here's one of the biggest plays of the game offensively and defensively. 2nd and 14 from the goal line. Here come the Stamps. Look out, Darian Durant goes down. DeMonte Bolden with the sack and 2 points. We'll make it 28-20.
Big DeMonte Bolden, the former Hamilton Tiger Cat out of the University of Tennessee. Provides a great push up the middle. He's the man on the nose. Quick swim over the arms of Dominic Picard, straight through to the quarterback, Darian Durant. And again, it's going back to the decision not to give up the single point. You see defensive coordinator Rick Campbell. It's still a 1-possession game, but now the difference is you're in a situation where you're forced to go for 2 to tie this thing up.
Would have changed the complexion of the decision-making considerably. Even if you give up a sack after giving up a single, still not giving Calgary good field position. Now you're giving Calgary the ball. You gave them 2 points. 2 points that could come back to haunt the Roughriders. The good thing, there's still 10-15 to go here in the 4th.
But it's also something that at a time in this ball game when Saskatchewan had all the momentum, it gave it back to the Calgary Stampeders.
And not allowed the Stampeders offense to score, still have not. Could be a critical 2 points. Ball bounces out. One hopper on the far sideline. Calgary could even get better field position after this.
Illegal kickoff. Saskatchewan. By rule, first down on the midfield.
Midfield strike.
Well, the special teams that have been so good for the Saskatchewan Roughriders up to this point. A couple critical errors back to back. Give the Stamps both points and now terrific field position.
Glenn, a bullet. Once again to Nick Lewis. Instant first down.
This is using the success that John Cornish has had on the run. Watch the play fake, run fake. Freezes the D-line, freezes the defenders. And the quick strike to Nick Lewis. Those DBs freeze for a second as they think they're going to have to come up and run support.
Saskatchewan was controlling everything, and suddenly the Stampeders have seized momentum back. Four-man rush. Glenn again to Nick Lewis. Down to the 25-yard line.
Nick Lewis tells him, keep it coming.
Back-to-back 15-yarders. 30 yards in 2 plays after the ball positioned at the midfield stripe, down to the 25-yard line. Over the top, and there he goes, Nick Lewis, touchdown! Lightning quick. The Stampeders respond.
Well, the Calgary Stampeders do what they were unable to do back in week 2. Stem the momentum once the Saskatchewan Roughriders got it going in the second half.
Nick Lewis, 55 yards, 3 catches in this drive. And just think, it all came down to a decision at the goal line by Jock Sanders, and it's changed things completely. Kevin Glenn finds Nick Lewis 3 straight times. This one a beauty. The Stampeders open up a 15-point lead. Nick Lewis,
AJK over there.
native of Mineral Wells, Texas, just gave a shout out to his mom and his grandma during the commercial break. Watching on the NBC Sports Network tonight, Nick Lewis Nation. Nick still has some quicks too.
The thing, Dwight Anderson may have forgotten momentarily on that touchdown pass to Nick Lewis. You can't arm tackle Nick Lewis.
No, you cannot. And the toughest to bring down. This ball bounces into the end zone. And those points coming back to haunt the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Well, those points and that guy, number 82, Nick Lewis. 3 straight. There's 2. There's 3. You better tie him up because he'll run through those arms. And he goes for the major.
Hell no, don't do shit. Sorry, Mom, because
Almost another 100-yard night.
just another guy scoring touchdowns on a Friday night.
As some people have referred to him, just another guy. Nick Lewis, you are just not another guy. 8 minutes to go, though. Durant, flushed, sidearm, throws it. Rob Bagg wanted an interference call, and there is no flag on the play. Oh, there is one, actually, that just came out.
Yeah, the flag was thrown a little bit late, but it was an obvious pass interference call. I believe Demetrius Morley was the defender who was all over Rob Bagg before the ball got there. They're matched up on the outside.
Calgary number 31. Point of foul, automatic first down.
Saskatchewan, all kinds of momentum evaporates. Quick drive by the Stamps. Weston Dressler, slant pattern. But the Saskatchewan Roughriders are not undefeated for nothing. This team has an inner belief that they have not had since back in 2008. The last time they went 6-0. Trying to do that again, but they're going to need to score in a hurry. Corey Sheets now cuts it outside and dropped there by Charleston Hughes.
Well, there you saw the patience of Corey Sheets with that shuffle, waiting for that hole to open up. Picked that lane to the outside. Positive yards for Sheets, but you see what Charleston Hughes does so well, always among the league leaders among defensive linemen in terms of tackles. Non-stop motor. Guy who's not strictly a pass rusher in this Calgary defense. He is a playmaker.
That time Charleston Hughes caught Corey Sheets, but Sheets still will move the chains. Still a possibility, certainly for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Down 15. Those of you new to the CFL game watching down south, not out of the realm of possibility by any stretch.
No, 7 minutes. A ton of time in a 2-score ball game in this league. Monte Bolden, the injured Stampeder, man who had that sack for a safety a couple of minutes ago, makes his way to the sideline.
2 sacks tonight for Bolden. Saskatchewan Roughrider fans, thousands of them here. Turn up the volume too. Durant fires. Good play here. G. Roy Simon, his first catch since early in the ball game. This is really G. Roy Simon time. How many times during the last decade or so in the fourth quarter, when the BC Lions needed a big play, they went to the guy they call Superman.
G. Roy Simon, the Canadian Football League all-time leading receiver in terms of yardage.
998 career catches, 2 from 1,000. Corey Sheets trying to kick it outside. Clock ticks to 6:03.
Well, the Riders will huddle up as they get that clock stoppage with the ball out of bounds. They go to their big personnel package here.
Last time these teams met again a month ago, the margin of victory was 15 points. But for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who have not won in Calgary since 2009, Corey Sheets motors forward again.
Just bowled his way through on that play. Man on a mission.
Now has just eclipsed John Cornish's numbers for the night on the ground.
Well, the first half was all Cornish. Second half has been about Corey Sheets.
Now Durant. Far side, and Jock Sanders gets some redemption here. Touchdown. What a play call.
Terrific play call. Well executed by the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Darian Durant looked like he was in trouble for a minute as he had an unblocked rusher in Charleston Hughes on the front side, but he lulled him in and then just let it go backside to wide open Jock Sanders.
Perfect time for his first CFL receiving touchdown. Jock Sanders, the guy who didn't give up that single point that looms large right now, turned into 2 points and a safety. At the point after, it's now an 8-point game.
Well, Jock Sanders is going to hang around on the backside of this play. Slide up to the line, look like a blocker. Everybody forgets about you. and then slip up undetected along that sideline. Everybody's thinking he's just there to help in the blocking scheme. You give Jock Sanders the ball in that kind of space, he's going to beat you every time.
Listen to this crowd if you can. You got the Calgary faithful, thousands. And you got these folks in green come from the nearby province. It's almost like back and forth they go. We call it the Christmas tree game. If you look in the stands, red and green. There is no rivalry like it in the Canadian Football League. Even best friends wearing opposing jerseys sit together. We could have a great finish here. Now the number 2 for Calgary. Larry Taylor zigs and zags and tackled from behind. Levi Steinauer with the special teams bring down. John Cornish. It's all him, as you mentioned, Dwayne, in the first half, and he has given way to the Corey Sheets show in the second.
Well, the Stampeders need John Cornish to retake this football game. Stampeders, when they were feeding Cornish the football, not only chewing up yards, but also chewing up time on the clock. They dominated the time of possession in the first half. This is the stage of the game where they need to eat up some of that clock.
Four-man rush out of the backfield. Marquay McDaniel, straight arm. And there is a penalty flag that came down after. McDaniel wanted a face mask call, may get it, but he also had his hand up in the visor of Dwight Anderson. McDaniel looks like he's banged up as well.
Major foul, face mask. Saskatchewan number 33. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
McDaniel had the initial shot to the visor, and then Anderson grabbed that grill.
Well, and that's what Dwight Anderson is arguing now. Did you not see his hand on my face mask? The issue in terms of getting that call, Dwight Anderson grabbed the face mask as opposed to the contact of that straight arm from Marquay McDaniel. The reaction defensively is as that guy's trying to separate from you, is to try and get something to grab. Dwight Anderson, unfortunately in that case, ended up locked onto the face mask. It's going to cost the Riders 15.
Fourth major penalty against the Roughriders tonight. Fourth 15-yarder. A net of 22 yards on the play. First and 10 from the Calgary 48. Trying to eat up some clock, too. Quick hitter for Mo Price. Fumble football knocked out of bounds, but it was punched out by Weldon Brown. Roughriders are saying it's their football, but because of that punch, it will maintain Calgary's possession.
A heads-up play to knock that ball out. Mo Price has got to get that in that left arm away from where the pursuit's coming, but heads-up play from Weldon Brown. Just got a little bit too much of that ball to knock it out.
Gain of 7 on the play. Second down and 3. Ticking down to 4 minutes. Saskatchewan trying to keep it in a one-possession game.
Timeout, Saskatchewan.
Roughriders will call a timeout here. Boy, the layoff, the bye week really has hurt both of these teams, hasn't it? They had no rest tonight. Offensively, defensively, showing why they have been the best 2 teams in the CFL West record-wise to start this season.
Yeah, continuing to play at a very high level, and some people may wonder if a week off has hurt the Saskatchewan Roughriders' momentum. I don't think that's the issue. These are 2 very good football teams. I don't think even the most faithful of Rider Nation expected this team to go 18-0. But we're going to see these teams lock horns all season long.
Calgary trying to even the season series. And losing in week 2, 36-21. Up the cut. And still on his feet. And a foot race. And John Cornish is
we said it needed to become John Cornish time. That was John Cornish time.
How in the world did he break free from this scrum? What a run from John Cornish.
That looked like he was done at the line of scrimmage. Into that pile, pops out the other side. Great juke right there on Macho Harris.
Dwight Anderson does not give up, and you never know. A stand here by the Roughriders down to the 1-yard line. You think sometimes automatic. This could be a big play in the grand scheme of things. Stamps can punch it in, though. It will make it enormously difficult for the Roughriders. They fumble. Bo Levi Mitchell. Who's got it? Could you imagine if the Roughriders have the football?
The bodies are just getting thrown around by the pile.
They have the
John
ball.
Chick just took a penalty. He took a shot at John Cornish.
That was not a smart one, as Bo Levi Mitchell clearly, well, maybe not. Looked like he had possession. Roughriders came up with a pigskin. Still awaiting official word from the officials. And John Chick lowered the boom on John Cornish. We'll figure it all out. 3-minute warning on the field in an 8-point ball game. Well, here's what happened. John Cornish actually initiated that, grabbing John Chick at the ankles, and then Chick throws him down. Regardless, Calgary has the football. And they go first and goal now. Bo Levi Mitchell fumbled the previous play, trying to hang on, and that might be the sealer. It's Cornish. 4 touchdowns. Hands it off to Dwight Anderson, and he'll take a penalty for that. Sometimes it just pays to walk away.
Exactly. Exactly. Actually looks like he got a little smile and a pat on the head from John Hufnagel, but I'm not, well, Hufnagel didn't see the penalty, that's why.
Objectionable conduct. Calgary number 9. 10-yard penalty will be applied on the kickoff.
It's absolutely the right call, and John Cornish should know better after he got caught as well for his part in the exchange on the previous play with John Chick. He's a guy who plays with a lot of emotions, but you've got to control those emotions.
They've been staging a battle this entire second half between whistles. John Cornish tonight, though, 4 touchdowns. Absolutely silent in the second half until that last drive. An enormous run down to the goal line, and then the one that punched it in.
Yeah, big play right here. John Cornish adjusts after running into that pile, and it was that juke that got him open. Dwight Anderson, nice effort to track him down. But Cornish just finishes the job a couple of snaps later to go in standing up.
Cornish and Dwight Anderson, keep in mind, ex-teammates.
Well, as Corey Chamberlain put it yesterday when we asked him about Dwight Anderson, he said, well, nobody likes Dwight unless he's on their team.
Well, here's the thing about these two teams. They don't like each other.
No.
And that's obvious. And get ready for round 3
well, this
in October.
I mean, this was a big game for both teams, as these teams will meet 3 times in total this season. Saskatchewan could have clinched the season series with a win in this ball game. But now, as you said, it looks like this is going to be a battle between these teams throughout. And you can't forget about the BC Lions in that West Division either. That every game, very significant, but you know it's going to come down to a rubber match for that season series now later in the season.
When they dissect this, look at the tape, they're going to look at a few things. They're going to look at Jock Sanders and that decision he made earlier. But they're also, Corey Chamberlain is going to lament all of these 15-yard penalties his team have given up tonight. particularly that allowed Calgary to maintain drives. Diamond Ferry this time brings it back. We began the night talking about the marquee backs 1 and 2 in the Canadian Football League. They did not disappoint.
No, not at all. Corey Sheets, 125 yards despite being well below his season average in terms of carries. But it's the average per carry for these two guys in this ball game. Sheets at 9.6, Cornish at 11 yards a carry and 4 touchdowns. 176 yards, sending in my vote right now for Canadian Player of the Week.
If not Offensive Player of the Week as well, as Corey Sheets takes one out of the backfield. 2:18 to go here. Saskatchewan Roughriders will fall from the undefeated ranks unless they have a miracle up their sleeve. Darian Durant scrambles out of trouble. He better go down. He won't.
And you've got to love the competitive fire that Darian Durant is showing. Playing with an injured foot late in this ball game. But when there's been a need to make plays, he's shown no hesitation to take off.
Riders still breathing here. Corey Sheets, time ticking down with, again, a 15-point game. Need a touchdown and then another touchdown with a 2-point convert. As crazy as it sounds, we've seen that stuff before.
Absolutely.
That's why they play to the gun here. Good catch, Tar Smith. They're at some point going to have to stretch this field to get a quick one.
Well, no shortage of playmakers in this Saskatchewan Roughrider offense. A nice job managing the clock thus far on this drive. But needing 2 scores, you are correct.
This could officially do it, though. It'll be 3rd down. They do take a timeout. Just to finish John Cornish's night, you know, 4 touchdowns in a game. How many touchdowns? What the most do you ever have in a game at any level? Did you ever have a quad?
I think 3.
3? The record for the Calgary Stampeders for touchdowns in a game is 5 by Earl Lunsford back in 1962. John Cornish joins some select company at 4 touchdowns in a game. Only happened twice before, including Herm Harrison.
Herm Harrison and Gene Filipski.
There's a first down, Saskatchewan.
Hey, Cornish becomes the first to do it since 1970.
And they needed all of them. They needed every one of them.
Yeah. We didn't do anything about it. That's the first one. That's the first two.
Calgary makes its statement here tonight. A log jam atop the West. Durant in trouble. Fumble. There it is. Stampeders have it. And now it's official. Carl McCartney has the recovery.
And Chris Randall came up with the strip on a scrambling Durant. Second offensive turnover of the game and of the season. Late blitz off the top of the screen for Chris Randall. Pops it out with the right hand. McCartney with the recovery. Those 2 turnovers big for the Calgary Stampeders. The first one left them on the doorstep, set up the opening touchdown of the game by John Cornish. And this one kind of bookends it and should allow them to close things out.
For tonight, only 1 turnover for Saskatchewan. It was on a short kickoff. Now 3 on the season. How about the best insurance policy in Canadian football.
Absolutely.
Mr. Allstate, you're in good hands with Kevin Glenn.
Yeah, Kevin Glenn may be labeled as the backup to Drew Tate, but this is a guy who kept this team rolling through last season as Drew Tate was injured for much of it. This year, the Calgary Stampeders got wins from 3 different starting quarterbacks in the first 5 weeks of the season.
Final minute here. Well, here is how it will look heading into the rest, the middle 6, as we talk about it. We cut those games in 6-game increments, 5-1. Look at the points, but if this score stays the same, they're identical and differential against each other as well. 15 points.
Exactly.
.35 to go.
Okay, that's it.
John Chick jumps in.
And you saw John Cornish on the sideline moments ago cheering for his backup, Matt Walter. As that first down will allow them to close things out with the kneel downs. But I would say fear not Rider Nation, who may be thinking last year they got off to that great 3-0 start, then lost 5 in a row. This is a different Saskatchewan team. As Corey Chamberlain described it yesterday, last year we played a lot on emotion, and once we were up 3-0, guys started thinking, let's go 5-0, let's go 6-0. This week the goal is to go, as he put it, 1-0 every week. And they're going to get right back to just trying to go 1-0 next week.
Well, they go next week against Montreal. This is a team that doesn't give up. But they are giving up their first loss of the season. 2 5-1s now atop the West. 2 teams that have beaten each other on both occasions by 15 points. What a night for John Cornish. What a night for the Stamps. Bye weeks are over. As we get closer to the end of August, and it starts to heat up. 42-27 is the final score here tonight on John Cornish night. Good night, everybody. SportsCenter is coming up right now.